Harold Pease, for those of you down in Bakersfield at the Bakersfield Tea Party. He spoke at your tea party and he came to us with incredible accolades. People say, you gotta hear this guy. So here he is. Dr. Harold Pease is a distinguished professor of political science and U.S. history at Taft College. His specialties are the U.S. Constitution and special interest groups. He served for a time as a specialist on the U.S. Constitution and Constitutional Subcommittee of the U.S. Senate, and he is a columnist on current event topics and provided radio stations with a weekly In Defense of the Constitution 5-minute spots. He has written numerous books and articles on current topics and currently feeds a popular blog called libertyunderfire.org. He has a new book coming out this fall on the U.S. Constitution, dealing with the numerous violations of that document in the last 50 years. He is a freedom-loving patriot. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Dr. Harold Pease.
Thank you. When I found that they didn't have a stand for me or a podium, they fixed me up with an upside-down garbage can. I'm quite comfortable with that. That's okay with me. I did call Obama, though, to see if I could borrow his teleprompter. And he said he was too busy using it himself or it wouldn't sound good. I said, I want to sound good, too. Anyway, I didn't get much sympathy. We'll do the best we can with an upside-down garbage can. Once again, we are committed, we who are committed to the United States Constitution and to the Founding Fathers, and to those principles that made us the freest and wealthiest land on the earth, are assembled to protest the direction that that sacred document and from those inspired principles that we have traveled in recent years, more especially the last 10 months. The Tea Party movement expressed itself most fully last April 15, when between 600 and 800 cities demanded that both major political parties stop the insane spending that was taking our children and grandchildren into massive debt before they were even born. There was no time in the U.S. history when there was a greater, more universal outpouring of populist sentiment and anger toward both parties than on that single day. Today, 39% of all voters register as independent because they are not happy with either party. This is unprecedented, and this group now is larger than either party by itself. Millions gathered in these separate places with the same message. Slow down. The sky is not falling. We survived the early 80s, where unemployment was 10.8% and inflation was 17.6% without selling our kids. We do have time to read the new laws before we pass them. We wanted both major political parties to provide us with fiscally responsible, constitutionally grounded, and sensitive candidates so that we can have two good choices rather than no good choices. And we demanded that the ballots, or the bailouts, stop. And excessive taxation stop as well. That is still our message. And that is the message, once again, resounding from the four corners of this great republic and in Alaska and Hawaii as well. This very day, there are 602 similar sister gatherings. This is a groundswell of anger, such as you and I have never seen before, whether the mainstream covers it or not. feelings. Millions agree. Politicians from both parties will listen to us or be removed. The message of April 15, the same as that of our forebears when they threw the tea into Boston Harbor, should have resounded throughout the land in every newspaper, radio, and TV outlet, and consequently been on the lips of every patriotic American, and would have had it been an issue they supported. Sadly, almost in your face, it was ignored, or when covered, mocked by the mainstream media. In fact, had it not been for the internet, talk radio, and Glenn Beck of Fox News, it would not have happened at all. Such was our biased news. Thank you, talk radio. Our hope today is that this and its sister gatherings will be so big that the demand of the people for more responsible government cannot be ignored. Such was the same when the British took our freedom by big government and managed the news in the revolution of our founders. They used the taverns and committees of correspondence to share their freedom loss. King George and Parliament were equally dismissive of our then protests against excessive government and taxation, as is our current President and Congress. Mr. President, you cannot mock us by simply pretending to wave a tea bag around in public, as you did in an address shortly after April 15. And members of Congress, not one of you read the over 1,100-page, $787 billion stimulus bill before you voted for it, nor have you read the cap and tax bill that you just endorsed. Your headlong rush into socialism, a philosophy rejected by the founders, and the antithesis of theirs, again, with your "the sky is falling" strategies, ends today. Know this, we are coming after every one of you who voted for either of these freedom-destroying bills. There is something so wrong, so arrogant about your having voted for something that you did not even read, that enslaves our people with a host of new regulations and is hostile to our founding philosophy, and we intend to replace you. Republican or Democrat, you do not represent us. We are taxed enough, get it? The answer to all government problems do not always have to be tax and spend and loss of liberty. Lord knows you guys already have a third of our paychecks. Do as we do with our family budgets. Say no to the excesses. Say no to give-outs to people who pay nothing in. Say no to any law that is not clearly permitted by the Constitution. Say no to selling us to China. Say no to foreign aid until we get our own people back on their feet. Say no to illegal immigration, which costs the California taxpayer at least $6 billion a year, and you take our jobs.